Hey, welcome back. You're watching Liquid Lunch. It's a Freaky Friday. It's National Pizza Party Day, and the pizza party we are having indeed. I'm celebrating here in Staten Island, New York with Frankie, and joining the party today, possibly Sans Pizza, but a guy who's trying to bring his party to the forefront. George Santos joins us right now. He's a Republican candidate for Congress in New York's 3rd Congressional District. He's the only Republican running for Congress in that district. And if you remember back a couple of months ago, George joined us. He was positive for COVID, and now he's recovered, thank goodness. George, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, John. Again, it's always a pleasure to be here with you, gentlemen.
So, George, number one, I would like to get, let's get to your campaign in a minute, but there's all this back and forth. It seemed like yesterday Dr. Anthony Fauci actually deferred a little bit towards the direction of looking more into hydroxychloroquine. In your experiences, were you treated with anything like hydroxychloroquine or anything like that, or you just recovered on your own?
Well, if you recall, John, I was a very early on case, right? When I was diagnosed with COVID, it was kind of novel. There was one hospital in New York City still prepared to see COVID, which was Elmhurst Hospital, which was where I was seen, which later became the epicenter of the epidemic. But I didn't have those options dealt to me. I was actually advised to take ibuprofen, which then later on was discarded as not recommended. So, no, I think it's great. I had first account of people in my district. I have an account of a 76-year-old grandfather of one of my friends who recovered from COVID, pretty much asymptomatic thanks to hydroxychloroquine and Z-Pak. So I think it's a great thing that we're starting to look towards it. 2 days ago, also a 104-year-old resident of Huntington Station in Suffolk County recovered from COVID-19 thanks to hydroxychloroquine and Z-Pak. So it's working, it works. And I don't understand why Fauci and the task force were so torn and divided on it, granted after the studies coming in from France. I wasn't fortunate enough to take it.
Well, so apparently, again, not to make this a whole hydroxychloroquine discussion, because I want to talk to you more about your candidacy, but apparently there were some problems with that study coming out of France. I don't understand for the life of me whether it's, pro-hydroxychloroquine or anti-hydroxychloroquine, why this is a political issue at all. To me, these sorts of medications should be left primarily to doctors. If you find a doctor that thinks it's appropriate to prescribe in your particular case, God bless you. If you find a doctor that, thinks it's not safe for you, then maybe you try some other approach. But I'm glad you're healthy now. I am curious, George, did you donate plasma after recovering?
So I did the test. I have the antibody. My antibody count is actually 2,800, which is pretty high.
Wow.
3,000. But I did not donate plasma. I didn't qualify based on certain guidelines on the blood donors. And
whatnot. Yes. So, can we talk about that? About that?
Sure.
All right. So now you're openly gay.
Yep.
Which would make you, I think, in the Congress, the only openly gay Republican in the Congress, right?
Yeah. Well, I would be the first. I'm actually the first openly gay Republican candidate endorsed in New York State. So yeah,
that's incredible. You'd be a real trailblazer there. But I forgot as I was asking the question, and I didn't mean to set you up or anything. But
okay.
In New York, they don't let you donate blood if you're gay, and yep. I've always found that is probably an unwise restriction, particularly when we're hard up for blood donations, and considering the fact that we're screening this blood for all sorts of diseases anyway. Do you share my view that we should allow gay donors to donate?
I think that the technology is there to screen the blood, as you just said. So I think this segregation is antiquated, it's obsolete, and I don't see any reason for it. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, sure, technology wasn't as advanced, and there was a lot of issues with it. And unfortunately, the STDs were really prominent in the community.
Sure.
So I don't see that. I think it's problematic that I'm an AB positive blood donor. I rank amongst the top 10 rarest bloods. They just don't. It's really unfortunate. It was very.
It sure is. I have one last question.
Definitely strange.
And then I'll defer to John. I don't mean to monopolize the conversation here, but we're seeing what's happening in the House today. The Democrats are preparing to vote on this $3 trillion stimulus package, 1,800 pages. Now, my favorite congressman, your fellow Long Island Republican, Peter King, made some headlines yesterday in indicating he would be voting for it. I suspect a number of other Republicans, maybe Jeff Van Drew and maybe Brian Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania, may vote for it as well. If you were in the Congress today, how would you vote on this bill and why?
I would unfortunately vote against it. I know it's probably not a very popular approach for the people watching. I just think that it's not about inflating money anymore, and we're printing money at a record speed that we don't have, right? And we know that that's not going to work in the long term. I think that before we sign any bills for $3 trillion moving forward, I think we need to really assess the situation on a monetarily basis and on a financial basis, excuse me. And also, we need to make sure that we're weighing off the consequences of overprinting cash and currency. And lastly, I think that right now that it's not about giving more handouts, Frankie. It's really about giving people their lives and livelihoods back. I know that there's concerns for a second wave, and they're fearful it's going to be enormously worse than the first one. But it's a gamble we're going to probably have to take, and there's just really nothing we can do about it. It's nature. I wouldn't vote for it. It's very problematic. I read a lot about it already. My team and I, we've been dissecting it. The conservative fiscal guy inside of me I wouldn't bring myself to vote for it. Not unless we had a real good backing or the situation got worse than it already is.
All right. Well, look, that's a fair answer, and it's hard to get some of these career politicians even on the record. So I appreciate your honesty there. Hey, George, we got about a minute left. Tell me what you think about these special election results. They seem to be proving Democrats are vulnerable.
So, for me, it was a great night on the 25th, although I'm all the way here in New York. California 2025, Hillary Clinton did better in that district than she did in mine. And to see that swing of 12% for the GOP, it's a copycat district in CA 25 and NY 3.
All right.
It's similar stats, demographics, all the numbers are pretty identical. It really lighted a fire, and it actually helped a lot with fundraising over the last 3 days.
All right, Georgie, we're gonna have to leave it there, but your team is great. You're great, and we're gonna have you back. Keep us posted on what's happening in your race. That's George Santos, congressional candidate for New York 3rd. Frankie and I are gonna take a quick break, just 1 minute turnaround. Back right after this with hour 2 of the Liquid Lunch on National Pizza Party Day.